Alright, this is the last part of the male reproductive system. We've talked about hormonal control, we've talked about spermatogenesis. Let's talk about the path of the ejaculate as well as the final stages of spermatogenesis and what is contributed in the ejaculate. So first off, remember that the sperm are developed in the seminiferous tubule. Once they have developed to a point, they are released, in which eventually they are brushed into the straight tubule, onto the ret testes, and then off into the epididymis. In the epididymis, this is where you will see sperm mature. They will be able to be capacitated. They will be able to move and do spermy things and spermy movements. One more thing before I move on to number 6. If the male is not sexually active, the sperm does not just build up here consistently. Old sperm are recycled out. They are destroyed, and the nutrients redistributed. If the male is reproductively active, then what will happen is during ejaculation, the sperm will be, and the muscles that are associated around the ductus vas deferens will start siphoning it off and pulling it in to this ductus vas deferens. You can kind of see it here. There's the spermatic cord. There's the epididymis where the sperm will mature. It's going to loop around in the middle here, and not so much. Okay. Anyways. Moving on, these spermatic cords, by the way, this is actually one neat little fact. This is more of a desiccated testicle. Desiccated means dried out, I apologize. In living tissue, in tissue that's actually thriving, you can put, for a vasectomy, what's going to happen is a doctor is going to go ahead, sneak into the spermatic cord, cut through very gently through the muscle, the cremaster muscle, avoid the nerve, avoid the blood supply, and then open it up and cut the vas deferens. Common practice is to cauterize the ends and then tie it off. This is a vasectomy, by the way, if I haven't said it already. Vasectomy is the cutting of that vas deferens. It's cauterizing it and tying it off, minimizing the chance that you're going to have any type of escapee, we'll say. It's also, this vas deferens is going to loop around, and it actually, if you can see it, you kind of can see it here. That vas deferens comes in front of the pubic bone, so it's palpable. You can feel that spermatic cord. So that vas deferens will go ahead and continue superiorly to that of the urinary bladder, and then it'll unite with this structure called the prostate. But just before that prostate, there are these things called seminal vesicles. Now, both the prostate and seminal vesicles contribute to the ejaculate. It's not just pure spermatids. It's not just pure mature sperm. If you remember back, that sperm really doesn't have anything going for it other than mitochondria, DNA, and some stuff that helps them get into the egg. It needs sugar. It needs the right environment, or else it's going to fail. And these two structures help out with that. The seminal vesicles secretes fructose, along with some prostaglandin and some other stuff, and some not saline, forgive me, some buffer solution that makes it more alkaline. Sperm prefer more alkaline solutions compared to acidic solutions. Alkaline means basic, acidic means, well, acid. So those seminal vesicles contribute to the survival of that sperm. The prostate does so as well, but in a different way. It provides citric acid as well as a little bit more of acidic and proteolytic proteins going on to hopefully, for a variety of reasons which scientists are still discussing. We're not going to go into huge detail right here. Here is a picture of that, what we just discussed about, but in well, not quite in vivo. It's not alive anymore, is he? more of a in cuerpo. My Spanish is coming out. Anyways, you can see that this is a posterior view. You can see there's the prostate, there's the seminal vesicles, there's the vas deferens right there. So prostate, another thing that it does is you'll remember that this urethra, the male urethra that's crossing through the penis, shares both the exit point for urine and the exit point for this ejaculate. And if you remember from that of our discussion of the seminal vesicle, sperm don't really like acid, and urine is quite acidic. So what a job for the prostate is to help not only excrete that stuff, but also to divert urine and to divert the sperm. So if a male is going to ejaculate, it's going to switch over to these ducts rather than the urinary duct. And that prostate's sort of like the relay station for those two substances. There is one more thing that secretes in the male urogenital tract, and that is the bulbourethral gland. Let me find my cursor. There it is, bulbourethral gland. This is termed the pre-ejaculate. Remember that sperm don't really like acidic solution, so males usually got a little bit of urine going still in that urethra. So what you got to do, or what the male body is going to do, is it's going to secrete out an alkaline mucousy solution to expel out just a little bit more of that urine, as well as make that urethra alkaline, basic, so that the sperm can travel without having any uh-ohs or whoopsies or degraded. Wordy. Let's take a look at the structure of the penis really quick. You'll see this is a cross section of the penis. You'll see a couple of things. There's the urethra as our landmark. You'll see around that urethra something called the corpus spongiosum. Corpus just means body. Spongiosum, you can probably think of what the spongiosum sounds like. It's a sponge, right? So it looks a little spongy. It's a spongy body. But if you look up here, there's these really large, very filled with holes type tissue going on here. This is called the corpora cavernosa. The corpora cavernosa, again, let's dissect that word a little bit. Corpora, body, cavernosa, cavernous, aka it looks kind of like caves. And you know what? If you compare it against the spongiosum, it does kind of look more open to it. I do have one other thing I have to point out about the male penis, is that there is a cap to it right here that's called the glans penis. It is extremely sensitive, kind of like the female clitoris, both of which are homologous structures, meaning that they develop from the same type of tissue. One other thing that we do need to discuss is how erections work. In an erection primarily goes via the parasympathetic. If you remember what parasympathetic nerve is, or the parasympathetic response is, it's that rest and digest. Everything's good, let's digest some food, let's get some nutrients running, etc. What's interesting though is that the ejaculation is a sympathetic response. A sympathetic response, so you have a contradicting thing going on here. So which this little setup, this little weird thing, explains why there's a relapse period, or a period in which males can't really participate in sexual activity until a couple of minutes to an hour, depending upon the individual, later. How an erection works, we talked about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous intervention. What goes on with the parasympathetic response is that it causes the dilation of arterioles. Remember, that's blood going to different tissues, but causes the constriction or the compression of veins. So you're getting more blood going into the penis than you are coming away from it. Hence an engorgement. With that, what I would suggest for you and for anyone that is studying as a group, I would suggest kind of what we did with this 3-part little mini series going on here. I would test yourself. Start off with the pathway of the sperm. Know where it is, where it begins. What is spermatogenesis? What's so special about the varying types of tissues, and how things are regulated for the testis. What's the temperature that the sperm have to be? What are the hormones that have to be present in order for a sperm to be developed? What causes the negative feedback? What are the things in the spermatic cord? What's the muscle? What do they do? Why does the arteries and our veins are organized in the way that they are? What's the vas deferens? Why is it easier for the vas deferens to be dissected and cut via aka vasectomy compared to that of tube tying in females? Followed along, what's that seminal vesicle do? Okay, they combine the seminal vesicle and the vas deferens combine together, and they go into the prostate. What are the several functions of the prostate? Before ejaculation, there's these 2 little glands at the base of the penis. What are they called? What do they do? Why do they do it? What does the sperm need in order to survive? How does the penis erect? What conditions have to be met? Is it a parasympathetic or sympathetic response? That type of stuff. Hopefully that will help you. I'm pretty certain that you all will be doing fine. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.